But you want to make sure that your income is keeping pace with inflation. And most importantly, is that your income lasts as long as you do.
And welcome into Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, Tim Stearns, CFP, helping as a proactive resource for savers and investors, planners, those who want to have a plan for a more secure and stable financial future. Turn to TJ Stearns Inc. and Tim Stearns CFP as we do here on the program each and every week. Certainly appreciate you joining us, Tim, and as we typically do, starting off the program with another tip of the week.
Peter, with my mom turning 96 this month, I think it's appropriate to talk about longevity risk, which, as the great Tom Hegna, who we've had on our show a couple times, says is the biggest killer to a successful retirement. So that is one of the things that we're talking to people about in our office, that when you're building a plan, it has to be able to last. People are living longer and longer without pensions, and therefore you need to make sure that your dollars in your 401k and IRAs and savings are stretching.
Tim, we've got a finite amount of money on the day that
Right.
we retire and an unknown amount of time to make it last. How do we know that our plan is built to address and withstand the potential for longevity?
Well, it's funny you bring that up, Peter, because another thing I wanted to talk about today was our Protect and Grow blueprint, which is simply getting through retirement successfully and understanding exactly year in and year out what you're spending and what you have to spend it on.
And there are some essential elements in that blueprint that we will kind of discuss and describe and move through: income, investments, taxes, care, and legacy. Even if one of these pillars is weak or incomplete, Tim, it is going to lead to instability in our lives, and that's why you plan carefully for them.
Right. And we go over those with them painstakingly, make sure that they understand how they're going to derive income. Secondly, what is going on in their investments. And then something really no one wants to talk about, but it has to be spoken, is taxes. And then, of course, healthcare and long-term care. And then, of course, at the end, if they want to leave a legacy, what that looks like.
So, one of the strongest things that we can do for our lasting financial security, Tim, you believe you've talked about, you have designed that proprietary Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint there at TJ Stearns Inc. But this plan does consist of multiple parts, and we want to
Yep.
talk about them one by one here on the program. But I do want to start by reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to get your Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint put together, a personalized plan as you have outlined your goals, objectives, dreams, hopes for retirement, a plan that helps you to achieve those as securely and predictably as possible. That is the Protect and Grow written blueprint for retirement. All you need to do to get that process started, give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. So, Tim, let's move through this. The Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint starts with a blueprint for income. What is the importance? What is the benefit of having a specific blueprint for income?
Well, first of all, we're going to start with what are their essential expenses that they're going to need and where they're going to get it from dependable income sources. So you want to make sure, if you have multiple income streams, that always helps. But you want to make sure that your income is keeping pace with inflation. And most importantly, is that your income lasts as long as you do.
And Tim, being able to pay our bills seems quite essential to me as far as our financial stability. The need to do so does not go away in retirement. So that's why we plan specifically for this. Multiple streams of income, not just one, and one that we want to keep pace with inflation, as you've noted.
Peter, I mean, some of the things that we're talking about here is making sure that your Social Security is timed and structured and the best way to maximize that lifetime benefit. If you have pensions and you have a wife or whatnot and you need to have survivorship, what that looks like. What are your guaranteed income sources? Do you own annuities? Do you have a structured payout of some sort? And then what is a safe withdrawal strategy? Can you do the 4% rule? But or using a bucket approach. What are we doing? When we're talking to people about this, we're going to tell them we're going to make sure that your guaranteed money is going to pay all your bills. After that, I'll call it the growth bucket is more about if you want to do that trip you never got to do, or God forbid something goes wrong at the house that you need to replace it. But back to the other stuff, the other thing is make sure that we're adjusting for inflation, that you have longevity protection, which we started out the show with that again. Again, people say that is the number one killer of retirements. And if you outlive your money, that could be terrible, which leads me to the next thing is to make sure that you're coordinating with your spouse so that, no matter what, you have that retirement paycheck instead of, taking some here and taking some there. Most people we're finding that come in to see us want to almost act like they're still getting a paycheck. And we
Mhm.
make sure that it comes on the 15th.
And Tim, as you are designing the blueprint for income, part of the retirement protect and grow blueprint, you're addressing all of these factors?
Yeah, of course, you have to. I mean, there's nothing to be left to chance here. One of the things that you and I have talked about a million times is, hoping you can pay your bills is no way to retire.
Yeah. And Tim, you've noted on the program before that just with those sources of guaranteed income, Social Security, the decisions on when and how to take it, pensions and annuities, the right decision, the wrong decision, the right annuity, the wrong annuity, this can be the difference in several hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands in annual cash flow that somebody either is getting or is not getting, or has to pull from their personal assets or gets from Social Security or pensions.
Well, let's put it to you this way, Peter. How many people have retired? Most of the time when they're coming to see us, it's the first time they've ever done it. And there are no do-overs. So you need to make sure that you're addressing all these different items so that the money that is coming in is guaranteed and paying the bills. And then of course we have a growth bucket that's going to grow money, for those things that are unseen.
And of course, that's the second part of the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint, a blueprint for investments. Tim, specifically a different part of the plan here that you are designing and blueprinting.
Well, I think right now with the market being so volatile, you have to make sure that your risk is aligned with where you're at in your life. And I see a lot of people coming in here who have way too much in stocks that are very volatile. So we need to figure that out and then make sure that you're diversified across asset classes. And then, of course, are you looking for, what are you designing the portfolio to do? Growth or preservation? And then make sure that we're not subject to this thing called sequence of returns risk, which in our classes, about 9 out of 10 people don't even know what that is. And then what that takes into account is us doing rebalancing, making sure we have liquidity, and then, of course, making sure that you are tax efficient.
Different goals, different portfolio approaches, different investments, different risk exposure, Tim.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you can have some risk exposure, but let's not have the lion's share of it exposed like what we're seeing when people come in here. People are, fear of missing out, FOMO is going on quite a bit. These people coming late to the party who want to buy gold at its all-time high or a stock like Nvidia that, you can lose 10% in a day. Those are not things that people should be doing when you're, getting ready for retirement.
Again, the blueprint for income, the blueprint for investments, the blueprint for taxes. Tim, I know that taxes is going to bleed over into several of these areas, but we have to specifically address tax efficiency with the income we're creating, with the investments that we hold. And ultimately, there may be money above and beyond the income and the investments that gets taxed into and throughout retirement. And we have to understand that as well.
Well, we need to minimize long-term taxation by structuring it properly, managing tax brackets to avoid the, sudden increases where then now suddenly you're subject to IRMA, and plan for those years when you're 73 and above that you're going to have to start taking money out. And those are, it's a compulsory, distribution. It's not like you have a choice in it. And then if we're lucky enough, maybe start looking at some Roth conversions.
Yep. Again, these are all laid out. If we were to consider those kind of proactive tax strategies, Tim, these are the kind of things that are laid out in the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint, but specifically the blueprint for taxes. You have helped people alleviate hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes over the course of their lifetimes and beyond.
Well, we educate them on the fact that some of these tax brackets that we're in right now are the best they've seen since they started their jobs. And that's kind of an eye opener. So that's an opportunity to do a Roth conversion and make sure that they understand this might not happen every year. Right now we have the opportunity. Let's take advantage of it.
Tim, next in the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint, the comprehensive plan, next comes the blueprint for care. This is health care, long term care, all the things that we don't want to think about, but we know are going to be a significant expense when we encounter them.
Well, the average couple 65 and older is going to spend about $350,000 in healthcare. That does not include long-term care. Medicare does not, take care of you on long-term care either. That's a misnomer that we have people coming in thinking that. So those are the times that we need to make sure that, you have a 7 out of 10 chance that you're going to need long-term care, and at least try to figure it out how you're going to take care of that and fix it before it happens.
Tim, there are some people who tell themselves, I am self-insured. And
Yeah.
what a fantastically financially confident statement to be able to say. But the reality of that statement is that you are literally using your assets as the protection. And I try to equate this to like my house. If I had a paid off house, I don't sit the value of the house in the bank and say, I don't need homeowners insurance. I'm self-insured. There's better ways to go about it here.
Right. We're not telling people to get a Cadillac of long-term care insurance, but we are saying put the onus on the insurance company. You have a 7 out of 10 chance you're going to need it. We should do something about that. And then I break it down to how you just said is that you have about a 3 in 1,000 chance of burning your house down. And I'll ask them, do you have home insurance? Well, of course I do. Well, to your point, then you should have it, and also figure out that the fact that, self-insuring, you didn't work your whole life, for all your money to go to, long-term care.
They talk, Tim, about the great wealth transfer, this
Yeah.
phenomenon over the course of the next 20 or so years, where they're estimating over $100 trillion changes
Yeah.
generations, because people do not have a blueprint for taxes and a blueprint for care. I feel like a third of that transfer is going to go to the IRS, and a third or more is going to go to the hospitals and nursing care facilities.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're correct, unless we get ahead of this. So what we try to tell our clients is don't be reactionary, be proactive on these things. So we're looking at what we can do about long-term care, and of course, we're looking at, the 900-pound gorilla in the room, which is taxes.
Yep. Tim, finally here on the five-pillar plan that constitutes the Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint is the blueprint for legacy is pillar number five. I imagine that there are some out there saying, well, it's not my goal to leave a large legacy behind, but if we don't plan for it, we could leave a mess behind.
Well, yeah, and you know who gets wealthy off of that are lawyers. We had a horror story in town here where someone died and a restaurant's going to go out of business because of it. These are things that you need to take of now. Take care of them. Meet with a lawyer. Get your will, your estate in order, and make sure the beneficiaries are updated and that type of thing, so that you don't have all your hard work going up in flames in the form of probate.
Don't leave a mess for your family. And
Right.
if it is a goal for you to leave a legacy behind, Tim, there are certainly specific assets that are better to be left behind than others. And that's one of the things, aside from the beneficiaries and the legal documents in place, helping people to maximize and optimize that legacy is a big and important step that you as a certified financial planning professional can help and assist with.
Right. And one of the ways we do that is by leveraging life insurance and those types of products to get, a bang for your buck that you can actually leave to your family and leave an imprint on the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Tim, have you seen any cases where you have been able to specifically help somebody's family efficiently make the transition and transfers and facilitate an ease of processing during that difficult time?
Unfortunately, Peter, we're going through that quite a bit here. We are definitely holding a lot of hands and making sure things are getting done right. Most of these widows or widowers that come to see us are pretty overwhelmed, and we try to make sure that we get them right and straight on the arrow so that they know exactly what they're trying to do.
Well, again, for a comprehensive plan like the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint, it is actually many different components that come together. And many savers and investors have done a good job in one or two of these areas, but actually have overlooked or even set things up in a way that works against them in a few of the other areas. So the blueprint for income, the blueprint for investments, the blueprint for taxes, the blueprint for care, the blueprint for legacy. If just one of these areas is missing or overlooked or has holes in it, the entire structure can be unstable. So the blueprint is not one element, it is all 5 elements coming together, and true preparation happens only with all 5 blueprints working together. That's why Tim Stearns emphasizes that you need to get your Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint, ladies and gentlemen. It is the plan that brings all 5 of these together, only available there at TJ Stearns Inc. And if you would like the help and the assistance of a CFP certified financial planning professional in making sure all your elements are coordinated and completed and the concerns addressed to help you achieve your goals soundly, pick up the phone and give a call. 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. All 5 pillars, again, interconnected. That's why you've got to get the Protect and Grow Written Retirement Blueprint to bring all of those pieces of the puzzle together. And again, Tim Stearns, CFP, makes that offer to you. No cost, no obligation. Just call 800-640-2256 or visit online, TjStearns.com, TjStearns.com. Tim, always a pleasure having you here on the program. Always good to see you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit TjStearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.